Ferrari just changed the SF-26, and almost nobody realized how big this is. 3 days ago, the car shut itself down in desert heat, thermal overload, hybrid clipping, rear instability at high speed. It looked like the fastest car over 1 lap, and the most fragile over distance. That is a dangerous mix, because in Formula One, speed without control wins headlines, not championships. So Ferrari responded. New sidepods, a redesigned floor to prevent aero stall, rewritten energy deployment software, refined front-wing balance. This is not a minor update. This is a structural correction under pressure. If it works, Ferrari goes from fast to complete. If it fails, they risk becoming a glass cannon again. And here is the part that should worry the entire grid. Even with thermal issues, the SF-26 was already capable of pole position pace. Imagine that car without overheating. Stay with me, because what Ferrari just revealed in Bahrain could decide whether this season becomes a title fight or another missed opportunity. Let's rewind to Barcelona, because that is where the illusion began. Cool air, stable track temperatures, controlled conditions. The SF-26 looks sharp. Strong traction out of slow corners, confident over curbs. Immediate adaptation from Lewis Hamilton. The pushrod front suspension absorbed bumps beautifully. The rear looked aggressive but manageable. And over 1 lap, the car hinted at serious potential. But here is what most people did not see. Ferrari was running an extreme packaging concept. Ultra-tight side pods, very narrow Coke bottle shape, minimal cooling exits. It was a statement. They were chasing aerodynamic efficiency, lower drag, cleaner airflow to the beam wing, maximum peak downforce from that V-shaped diffuser. On paper, it was brilliant. In cool Spanish air, it worked. Temperatures stayed under control. Hybrid deployment looked strong. Engine behavior felt stable. So Ferrari left Barcelona believing the concept had merit. But concepts are tested under pressure. And Bahrain applied that pressure immediately. The moment the temperature crossed 30 degrees, the weaknesses surfaced. Hybrid temperatures climbed. Cooling margins shrank. And then came the warning sign. Thermal shutdown. The system protected itself, because the bodywork simply could not evacuate heat fast enough. At the same time, something else appeared. Rear instability at high speed. Not constant, not catastrophic, but sudden. Under braking, when ride height shifted slightly, the diffuser would momentarily lose airflow attachment. When that happens, rear grip disappears without warning. Hamilton felt it, and he was clear. He wants a stable rear platform, not explosive peak downforce that vanishes under load. That is a philosophical shift, because Ferrari's original concept chased maximum numbers, maximum load, maximum aero peak, but with a narrow operating window. And a narrow window is dangerous over a long season, especially in hotter races, especially under wind, especially when chasing a championship. So Bahrain did not just reveal overheating. It revealed that the SF-26 was walking a tightrope, fast, but fragile. And that is exactly why what Ferrari brought next is so important. Because they did not just adjust setup, they began reshaping the operating window of the entire car. Ferrari knew they could not simply open larger cooling holes and hope for the best. That would have solved the heat, but destroyed the concept. Because the original emergency solution in Bahrain cost them significant straight-line efficiency. Opening crude cooling exits increased drag. And in modern Formula One, 0.3 per lap is enormous. So instead of abandoning the philosophy, Ferrari refined it. They introduced what internally is being called version 1.5 of the sidepods. Slightly wider in the waist, subtle reshaping around the Coke bottle area. But the key detail is modular cooling. Targeted louvres placed strategically around the upper bodywork, designed to extract heat from the MGUK area without disrupting airflow toward the rear wing. That is precision engineering. Cool only what must be cooled. Protect everything else. Because if you can maintain the aerodynamic efficiency while stabilizing temperatures, you keep the performance upside. That is the first pillar of the upgrade. Thermal control without surrendering speed. The second pillar is even more important. The floor. The original V-shaped diffuser design produced massive peak downforce. On perfect laps, it was extraordinary, but it was sensitive. Under braking, as the car pitched forward, ride height shifted. In crosswinds, airflow changed direction. And in those moments, the diffuser would stall. When a diffuser stalls, rear downforce collapses abruptly. Not gradually, suddenly. That is why Hamilton reported instability at high speed. Not because the car lacked grip, but because the grip was inconsistent. So Ferrari introduced a revised anti-stall floor, stiffer floor edges, a redesigned central diffuser channel, a modified opening often referred to as a mouse hole, all aimed at keeping airflow attached even when the car oscillates slightly. This sacrifices a small amount of absolute peak load, but massively increases the operating window. And that is critical, because a slightly lower peak that works every lap is more valuable than a higher peak that disappears unpredictably. Ferrari is choosing consistency over volatility. That is not weakness. That is maturity. Then comes energy deployment. Clipping was visible in Bahrain. Halfway down the straight, electrical assistance faded. That means the battery was delivering aggressively early and running out late. So Ferrari rewrote the torque mapping. Smoother initial power delivery out of slow corners. Less brutal torque spike. More gradual deployment curve. Extending electrical assistance deeper into the straight. This does two things. First, it protects rear tires from excessive torque shock. Second, it keeps top speed competitive at the end of long straights. It may reduce peak punch slightly, but it increases usable power. And usable power wins battles. Finally, there is aerodynamic synchronization. Data suggested that the rear wing behavior was not perfectly aligned with the front wing response under certain load changes. That created momentary imbalance. So Ferrari adjusted both physical flap profiles and control software. The goal is seamless balance. When rear load increases, the front matches it. When rear unloads, the front follows proportionally. That eliminates sudden snap oversteer. Again, this is about harmony. The SF-26 is being recalibrated to behave as one integrated system, not as separate aggressive components. Now step back and look at the bigger picture. In Barcelona, Ferrari chased maximum numbers. In Bahrain Week 1, they discovered the cost of that approach. In Bahrain Week 2, they revealed something different. A car still fast, still aggressive, but now engineered with margin, cooling margin, aero margin, energy margin. And that is what makes this upgrade so significant. Because if Ferrari manages to keep their one-lap advantage, while eliminating thermal shutdown, while stabilizing the rear, while smoothing torque delivery, then the SF-26 becomes something it has not been in recent seasons. Reliable under pressure. That is the missing piece. Speed was never the issue. Sustainability was. And this package is designed to address exactly that. The question now is simple. Did Ferrari widen the operating window enough? Because if they did, the fastest car over one lap may also become the most dangerous car over a full race distance. And that changes everything. Now here is where the tension rises. Because Ferrari's upgrade is not happening in a vacuum. Red Bull looks composed, stable, efficient over long runs. Mercedes is restructuring its rear suspension and navigating engine scrutiny. McLaren appears balanced and easy to drive. So Ferrari is not just solving internal weaknesses. They are trying to convert raw pace into championship credibility. And credibility in Formula One is built over distance, not over headlines. If the revised cooling system works, Ferrari avoids another thermal shutdown in high heat races like Jeddah, Miami, or Singapore. If the anti-stall floor keeps airflow attached under braking and crosswinds, Hamilton can attack high-speed corners without hesitation. If a smoother torque map protects rear tires, long-run degradation improves dramatically. And that is the key shift. Ferrari is moving from explosive to sustainable, from aggressive to controlled, from narrow window to broader tolerance. Because a narrow operating window is a nightmare over a season. Every temperature change, every wind gust, every small setup miscalculation becomes amplified. A wider window gives drivers confidence. Confidence reduces mistakes. Reduced mistakes win championships. And there is something else happening quietly inside Ferrari. Hamilton's arrival is reshaping development philosophy. In previous seasons, Ferrari often chased maximum theoretical load, peak numbers in simulation, peak one-lap performance. Hamilton's influence pushes toward drivability, toward predictability, toward a rear that behaves consistently when fuel loads are heavy and tires are worn. That cultural adjustment may be as important as any physical upgrade, because the SF-26 now appears designed not just to impress engineers, but to empower drivers. And that matters when pressure builds. Now imagine this scenario. The cooling holds, the hybrid remains stable, the floor keeps the rear planted, and Ferrari retains its qualifying edge. Suddenly, They are not chasing Red Bull. They are applying pressure. They are forcing rivals to react. And when rivals react, mistakes happen. But if even one of these solutions falls short, if temperatures spike again, if the diffuser still stalls under wind, if clipping returns in hotter conditions, then the narrative flips back. Fast, fragile, frustrating. That is the thin line Ferrari is walking. But this time it feels different, because instead of doubling down on aggression, they are broadening the platform.